business, Spice FM are here to help. Let us promote your brand, product, service or business on air, online, on web. We can reach an audience that no other local radio can reach. Broadcasting on 98.8 FM and nationally and globally online. For more information, visit us now, spicefm.co.uk.
Spice FM. Spice FM.
A very good evening to everyone. It's Doc here with the Doc Show. I don't know what to call this show. Some people say you should call it an evening with Doc. Some say it's called insomnia. All sorts of reasons. But anyway, for the moment we are 10 to 12. I hope we become more human by starting at 8 and finishing at 10. Because I love bringing guests into the studio. I don't believe in Zoom. I've done all of that. That's enough. That's during Corona time. I really want guests in the studio, and look who's come. We have Sonya Hudson today. Sonya, you are the first real life Geordie hero or heroine.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
So the first half an hour we bring people who have done something interesting. So you have done something very interesting with your life, and I've known you for what, 25 years? Yeah? Health 2000 and before that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell people who you are. I know who you are, but you tell people who you are, where you started, how you became this. You're even a policewoman, but you never arrested or shot anyone.
No. Well, I certainly did not shoot anyone. I certainly didn't.
So tell us, where were you born? What was early life like? What is schooling like?
I was born in a lovely little place called Walker.
Walker.
I was a home birth.
Okay. Oh my God! Wow.
I was. My dad used to joke and say, well, my mum used to say, 3 sharp pains and you were there, and my dad used to always end it with, yeah, and you've been a pain ever since. It was a standing joke.
So you're the second child?
I'm the second child, yeah.
And your brother is an artist and bodybuilder and very interesting character. Okay. Yeah. So just 2 of you?
No, there was, 5 of us all together, but 2 of my brother and a sister, are no longer with us.
You lost your brother in a motorcycle accident.
I did.
I certainly remember. Actually, the truth is we never forget anything, isn't it? You just need the right trigger.
You do.
Okay. So, what is school like? Your childhood like? I mean,
my mum and dad both. My mum was a stay-at-home mum, really.
Mm-hmm.
My dad worked all the hours God sent, but my mum, she taught us at home. We could read and write before we started school.
Really?
She was an excellent teacher, but she stayed at home right until my youngest brother was born, and then when he was about 12 she started work then.
Okay.
Because they were very old-fashioned and traditional.
Yes.
The mum had to be there for the kids, and
when they come back from school, they can't be latch door kids.
No, and we never were.
So you felt very loved as a child.
Very loved.
But all of you, all your children.
All of us. I mean, our father was very strict, but when I look back and I think I was a little bit of a rebel when I was growing up. I was always.
Like, what did you do?
Well, I wouldn't just take what people said at face value. I always wanted to know the ins and outs and the whys.
Yes. So in a childhood, your parents never managed to, or didn't want to, crush your spirit of inquiry.
I think they desperately tried.
Like what?
Well, certainly my dad did.
Right.
I just questioned everything, and I still do. I look at life in a different way because, I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV for years because there's a grain of truth in everything, but I think you've got to look at it through graceful eyes.
Yes. And what is truth except someone's opinion?
And a lot of it is all opinions.
And a few years later it might change. And And didn't someone say that the beauty of the education of the 21st century is to forget what you've learnt in the past?
Every day.
Otherwise you can't move on.
I have a mantra that I've said for the last 6-7 years now. Every morning when I wake up, I say, this is the first day of the rest of my life.
So this is the first day of the rest of our lives. A little bit of a thought goes in there. Okay, this is exactly opposite of what I believe. I'm not just another brick in the wall, I'm the brick in the wall. So okay, so you questioned everything in school, and that spirit has remained to this day.
I've always been fascinated with, I'm a people watcher.
Right,
I
right.
always have been, even as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I was, you know, a very adventurous child.
Mm-mm.
I was very tomboyish.
Mm-hmm.
But I had an older brother.
Mm-hmm.
My younger sister used to play with dolls and things, and that used
She's
to
a proper girl.
bore me senseless. I wanted to play in trees, and you
Right.
know.
So, but you knew you had the protection of your older brother, and he's
Yeah.
quite a muscular guy.
Yeah.
Anybody gets in the way, he's a big guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he runs. Does he still run his gym
No.
Okay.
He's a tutor at the college in Hexham.
in arts?
Yeah.
So his yin side has come out, really. Yeah, isn't it? There's a very strong yang side. He's quite a handsome guy.
Yeah.
He does paintings, this and that, and bodybuilding and everything. But yet there's a very, very soft part of him.
Yeah. He likes to hide it, but there is.
Yes. So you were the challenger to him?
I was a challenger to everything. Really.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
Bless. When I look back, I think they deserved a medal when I was going through my teens, especially.
So was he also your protector from your dad and mom?
No, not really. I've never needed protecting.
In the sense of if they were going to tell you off, he would sort of no.
No, believe me, I was the one that used to, you know, I stood up for myself. I didn't care how big they were or how tough they were, I would stand up for myself. I was never scared of anything or anyone when I was growing up. You know, but I was very defiant, and I would, you know, question rules.
So did you ever challenge your mother, saying, when dad said this, why don't you say anything back to him?
I did, because my mum, you know, they had an old-fashioned relationship,
Yeah.
and mum did everything in the house. My dad didn't. I don't think he ever knew where the sink was to do dishes and things, you know. And that used to press all my buttons as I was growing up.
Oh, right.
And it made me very rebellious, and thinking, this marriage malarkey is not for me.
All right. Okay. So yes. So that completely turned you off the
It did.
received wisdom.
Yeah. And yet I did get married, I did have kids, you know, but I didn't run my life the same way as my mum did.
Yes. You had your own life as well,
I had my
as an
own.
individual.
I did.
So you are a fully formed human being
Yeah.
who happens to be married or not married, who happens to have children or not have children,
Yeah.
who happens to be a granny and not be a granny.
Yeah.
But despite it all, you're still Sonya.
I think that's very important, to keep your identity, because they're roles that we play. Being a sister or a brother, a mum or a dad, a wife or a husband, a lover, they're just roles. You know, but who
But you
are
can't
you?
just be those.
You know, who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's operating all of these
Yes.
parts of you?
Yes,
You know,
yes,
and I think it's very important, and it's a lot about the work I do. Really, is about that. The finding that I am. Who am I? If I'm not this.
If you're not confirmed in who you are, how can you help anybody else
Exactly.
form who they are?
Yeah. And you know, I do a lot of hypnotherapy, but I explain to my clients when they come, I don't hypnotize people. I de-hypnotize people.
So what you're saying is people walk in a daze, like what do you call them, those dead things that walk around?
Whatever the
Yes.
zombies.
The zombies, yes,
Because
yes.
they're focused on the problem.
Yes.
And where NLP and hypnotherapy and EFT as well, you focus on the solution.
Yes.
We focus on the solution.
Rather than go around
and
talking about the problem, more about the problem.
regurgitate the problem more and more and more. That record's already playing.
Yes, so why do you want to...
So why do we... I know they know what the problem is. So, you know, yes, we have a briefing about the problem, but then we focus on, right, what do we do now? Where do we go now? How do we get about this? You know, so that's the magic, and that's what lights me up inside. When I see the light go on in somebody's eyes,
the sparkle.
I was telling you earlier, I worked with a little lad.
Yes,
he
tell
hadn't
me.
ate for 6 weeks.
What happened? What had
He
happened?
had choked on some cucumber.
Right.
And he'd went to the GP, and the GP said, oh, he needs talking therapy, it's more psychological. So this little boy was losing weight.
But that's a very good GP, otherwise you would have referred him to the ENT
yeah.
and wasted a time on scans and this and that.
But the waiting lists for talking therapies are ridiculously long, and the whole time this little lad is losing weight and the parents are frantic. So they got in touch with me, and I worked with them for about 20 minutes using EFT. Emotional freedom technique.
By tapping.
20 minutes with that little boy, and he went home, ate his tea, and I've had flowers, card, chocolates from the parents. He actually came the next day.
So why do you think the health service completely I mean, we know each other only because I'm a rebel. You're telling how rebellious you are. Imagine living on top floor in my own house and working downstairs is not an English thing to do. Promoting compliment, but if it gets you better, it gets you better. You know, I don't stop people going to church, but that doctors won't say anything about, you know. But of course, all that heals.
But you know, you tap into that magic of your body is an amazing piece of, you know, magic. It knows how to heal.
Long before the word doctor was invented.
Exactly, it knows you just need. With EFT, I look at EFT. It's like your body's like a musical instrument, and when you tap on those points, you're playing the keys of your body and tapping into the blockages you've got, emotional blockages what you're carrying,
which have got trapped in the body at different zones,
and create dis-ease of some sort, whether it's a mental dis-ease or a physical dis-ease.
Yes.
You know, and that's what I tap into. But the NLP, the hypnotherapy, the EFT, and I'm also a Reiki master, because I'm always looking for something else to bring in.
Yes.
Because we're all unique.
Yes.
And
you don't know what will click with what
person
when.
I use a combination with my clients, whatever combination I think will work.
But you don't have an algorithm, you just go by what you're told.
What you see, what you hear, you know, what feelings do you get from them? You know, when COVID hit and I was doing a lot of the sessions on Zoom, you're missing half the physiology.
Yes.
55% of communication is your physiology.
Yes.
38% tonality and only 7% words.
So when you when there's a divorce going on, and the solicitor writes a text, he knows it means absolutely nothing in real terms. It's just words, which is only 7% of what the client says. If I say, good morning, Sonya, how are you? Good morning, Sonya, how are you today? They're completely opposite. On paper, they look the same. And solicitors make money out of it. Because that's how the system works. So emails and all are fine for mortgages. But if you want to give your feelings, you need to talk. Face to face, probably.
Face to face is better,
Yeah.
and if you've got the whole person in front of you,
Yes.
because the physiology gives away so much information.
Yes.
What the words, you know, what comes out the mouth
Yes.
is recordings,
Yes.
but the body does not lie.
And the way your eyes move and
Where
ask
the
the question.
eyes, the VAC strategies, they all come into play. You know, and you're reading the whole person. And as I said, the body never lies.
So do you think, I mean, I did a course on counseling.
Yeah.
Not just because the patients needed it, I needed it. I was going through a very difficult marriage and living on the premises, and things were happening. So I needed that support. So I went to Durham for 2 years off and on, and made me a better human, a more tolerant human, a nicer person. And I got support in that group. Because all of us have issues, isn't it? And we take it as a challenge. So, okay, but when did you decide to become a therapist? I mean, you became a policewoman first somewhere, didn't
Well,
you?
the policewoman, you know, I think I was married, and it was a very short marriage, and I had a son. And I was at the point in my life, the marriage, you know, didn't last very long. It was disastrous. And I had this little boy, and something in me changed. And I thought, I need to be an example for this little boy.
Okay.
I need to better myself.
Okay.
And my parents said, we look after him, but only if you're at college or you're
if you're improving yourself.
We're not going to watch them if you're just going out and drinking
getting,
with it, which I never ever did.
No.
So I did go to college. I did psychology, social
Oh, wow.
science, and I
So
was...
you had very sort of helpful parents, long term.
Oh, they were great.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I couldn't have done half the things I did
If they didn't
hadn't it
challenge
been for
you,
them.
control you, help you, whatever.
Yeah, and when I look back, I used to think, God, my friends would be going out, you know, but I could never get baby. I wouldn't leave my son with anyone I wasn't 100% sure with.
Yes.
So I didn't go out very often. But I loved, and I still love learning. I love
the thirst for
learning.
knowledge.
I have a great thirst for philosophy and the sciences. I love the human mind. It's something you can study your whole life.
And not get enough.
And the more I read and the more people I meet, the more I realise, the less I know.
Yes.
It's a constant. If I hear somebody say, oh, I did NLP years ago, or I did this years ago, and I think, you cannot, it's never done.
It's not done and worn a t-shirt and its job is done.
It's never done because we're evolving.
Yes.
As is NLP, EFT, hypnotherapy. You know, we are evolving as a species, and the techniques have got to evolve as we go along. So you have to be able to adapt the techniques to each unique individual that comes in front of you.
Yes. And every moment, every consultation is a new opportunity.
And for me to learn as well. So I'm passionate about what I do because obviously I'm reading the person from first clapping eyes on them. You know, I'm looking for the physiology, I'm hearing, listening to the tonality. The words, yes, I'm getting the gist of the words, but I'm more focused on the physiology and the tonality.
Right. So, okay. So you were a policewoman for a very short time, and then how did the idea...
2.5 years.
Okay, and how did the idea of hypnotherapy, NLP, counselling...
I had an interest in it, when I was in the police force, we used to do training videos.
Okay.
So I used to get a script posted to me, and I'd have to learn the script. So I've been every criminal you can imagine.
Oh, I see. You dramatize it.
Yes.
So you become a criminal.
So then
did that come naturally to you? Sorry, just a joke. Okay. Well, actually, the police.
I must have been good because they kept asking me to go back.
But seriously, the police are the flip side of a criminal.
Well, you know,
they are criminals in uniform. I don't mean that any negative way.
They're looking to read the body language. Body language was huge back then.
Right.
So, you know, that stirred my interest.
Right.
You know, looking at the body language. So I learned a lot by learning the script, and they then had to interview me.
Right.
And I then had to give in.
Right. So you became basically you're acting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's your acting skills.
And they used to video it, and there'd be a team of detectives
watching
the video in another room, and looking how uncomfortable I was at certain questions they were asking me, because
right. That's jolly good training.
It was really good training. And I love to read. You know, I have a library of books. I had to get rid of a lot of books.
So in a way, you're saying that the actors are also psychotherapists, isn't it?
Well,
every actor who goes into a role,
you're stepping into
another persona,
and imagining what it would be like in that persona.
And that it reminded, pardon me, there's a fellow who's died. He was a wonderful actor from Rajasthan in India, and he was running a seminar. And one girl said, "Sir, you're such a good person." In totally awe of him. How do you do these bad roles? He says, "Lady, we're all good and we're all bad. I've got God Ram inside me," Muslim saying that, and I also have Ravan, the beast. Yeah. It depends which part I grow. Inside you is a wonderful person, and inside you is a terrible. Yeah. So get out of this idea that someone is good, someone is bad. Because how will you act then? So I bring out all the badness side of me.
But when you think of the biology of somebody, Anand, you have killer cells within you.
Yes.
The whole purpose of existing is to kill, to attack viruses.
Yes.
When they enter your body.
Yes.
Does that make them evil or does that make them bad?
It depends which side you're on.
It's the function.
Yes.
It's the natural function.
Yeah. I mean, soldiers are doing a job for Britain. Soldiers are doing a job for Ukraine, for India, for Pakistan, For this side, they are enemies. For that side, these are enemies. But they are only serving,
But they're all human beings.
doing a job.
And I work with a lot of soldiers, you know, with post-traumatic stress, and it's heartbreaking because it
what they've
breaks
seen.
them.
Yes.
You're not born to kill.
No.
Nobody is.
So you realize that killing is unnatural.
It's unnatural because you're not born to kill. We're no longer, you know, cavemen. We're not having to kill to live. So you're brought up, we're quite privileged. You know, the way
you
we're
just go to
brought up
Tesco
now.
and buy some meat.
It's
you don't have to.
you don't have to go out and hunt it anymore. So that killing instinct
It has gone out
is
of us.
gone. So it has to be trained back into you when you go into the forces.
Right. So basically, what you're saying is, it was natural once to be violent and so on, but those things have moved on. We have moved on.
We have mellowed.
And so still there's some wars going on, you know, and it's so unnatural. Here we get a little wasp bite and you go to the casualty and you cry and and there you're just shooting people, blowing their heads off and doing all
But
this.
look what's become really popular. All of these games, these computer games, the violence on these games, it's horrendous. So we're actually programming our kids now, because I mean, we didn't have anything like that growing up. We were outside climbing trees and playing.
I mean, at worst you had a sword or a water pistol or something.
But you'd use your imagination, you know, to create the game. But I'm very fearful of the future because of all of this entrainment that we're given our children
Through computer games. Which are so realistic.
Because your mind does not distinguish, your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what's real and what's, you know...
Like a dream is also real.
Your mind produces the chemicals, the cortisol, the adrenaline. If it's in a fight or flight mode, which when you're playing these games, your mind's in the game, you become part of the game.
Like going to a movie and you cry, you laugh, you fall in love, you lust, whatever. It's only a bit of picture you're seeing.
But you know, as a doctor, what cortisol does to your system. Once you've had that sort of, I'm being chased, I've got to kill this one, that one, you're releasing that cortisol into your system.
And you're wanting more and more, you can get hooked onto it.
And it lasts 24 hours each time, isn't
it?
I think you told me that years ago.
Adrenaline, if you keep it long enough in the body, say 15 minutes, then the body secretes cortisol. And the cortisol has a very long half-life. The cortisol is there to protect you.
Oh yeah, but for the fight or flight.
For the fight or flight. So if you were in a war and your little finger got cut off, you won't even feel the pain.
No.
But if you do that all the time, it's harmful. Okay. So how have you changed during Corona with your work? I mean,
using Zoom, you know, I got very well acquainted with Zoom during the COVID, and I had to work with a lot of clients because I work with international clients, you know, on Zoom, and it works fairly well. You know, you can get the results working online. I prefer to see clients in the flesh because you get the full picture. You miss half when you think you're only seeing half of the person. So any body language from there down, you're missing
out, and you can't see the movement of the hands.
You can't see anything. You know, all you're looking at is this face. And yes, you can study the eyes, the VAKs of the face, and you can see the micro movements. You've really got to focus on that, you know, and look for the the synchronicities of what's happening with the face, with the tonality, because you're working on the physiology of this part, but you're listening for the tonality. You've got to match what's not matching.
Yes, where the discrepancies are.
It does make it harder for the therapist.
Okay.
It's much easier when they're in front of you.
Full body language is there. So how do you see your own working future?
I see my own working future. I love what I do. I love seeing clients. I do run workshops, but I haven't run workshops for the last couple of years for
because
obvious
of
reasons.
COVID, yes.
And you get out of the habit. But I have been talking with a dear friend of mine and colleague, and we're talking about running another one of the angel workshops that I created.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I haven't brought that up. You do angel workshops.
I do angel workshops. I'm very spiritual. You know, I believe there's a great energy on this planet and we're all connected to it. But we need to tap into it. We've forgotten how to.
Yes, we become very insular,
and when you still
materialist.
the mind, when you still it long enough, you connect to that source that is the life of everything on this planet.
Right.
You know, so it's when you tune into that energy, and the workshop is very much, you know, tuning
Reconnecting.
reconnecting with you, instilling
Fantastic.
our busy minds.
Thank you. You've been absolutely phenomenal as always. We'll have you again. This will be run tomorrow. What time shall I run it? Say about 10 o'clock. Just to remember that 10 o'clock that you came for today.
2 10 o'clocks in one day.
So tomorrow 10 I will have edited all this and put it on Facebook and sent you a link. Okay, Sonya, you've been phenomenal and every good luck and lovely knowing you for a quarter of a century. Okay.